Mm-hmm. Okay, you're live.
Good evening or afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the public ad hoc for the NSA. We have several members here today, and we're going to get started. It's 4:38 p.m. We are on page 3 of the document that we have been reviewing, hopefully for the last time, so we can send it to the full commission. So we left out. Can you kind of put it up so I can understand what this paragraph is in the context of our paragraph? And
Just here.
this we're talking about CIPRA, or is this like Roman numeral 1, 2, or 3?
This is strengthening the commission's capacity. There we go.
Okay, well, can you go up a little more, Mike, please?
Mm-hmm. Like above that.
Okay, well then scroll down to where we're starting, please.
Okay.
And I have a hard copy here on the table.
Oh, we need a 2 over there after perform on that the first line.
Okay. Okay, I have this at
I'm sorry.
page 4 of a hard copy. Okay. Are there comments here? I have comments later on.
I think if we're going with the active voice, then we need to remove has been vital to these efforts.
Okay.
I actually think this should be this sentence should probably be like in present voice. So as always, the community's voice is vital to these efforts.
Mhm.
And then the sentence the last sentence along with the
Put into it.
the last sentence of the same paragraph, along with the commission, a small team of dedicated community members.
I missed most of that.
Oh, and Micah's got it. I
Okay.
just changed instead of has been to is, and then in the last sentence, instead of have work, just have worked, just work to clarify the commission's powers, and because that's also ongoing, I think.
Okay. And I do want to mention here that the commission has met with an uphill battle to receive approval of the positions necessary to support its mission. Another sentence there.
Say that again, Chair. Where is that?
It has to do with positions. And maybe this is a whole, separate thing, but I want to introduce the idea that we are not getting the type of support that we need in terms of administrative support. So I was thinking of adding either another paragraph, since this one above is about the enabling ordinance. Nope. Yeah, there. Nope. After new language, a paragraph. And this paragraph will address administrative support and the lack thereof. And so I have here the commission has met with an uphill battle to receive approval of the
Are you froze?
positions.
Okay, wait 1 second, Chair. You froze a bit for me.
Are we frozen?
Yeah, you were frozen for a bit. So I got the commission has met, has been met with has met with an
No, no,
uphill
no,
battle.
no. Has met with an uphill battle,
To receive.
see approval of the positions necessary to support its mission. So Angela, tell me how to make it better.
Chair Peterson.
Yes, sir.
So if I don't have a problem with that, but maybe we can be more specific. What type of resistance? Is it financial? Is it, budgetary? And then from who? I think it's important to identify those two things.
Okay, that's a good point. And they are administrative positions for sure, and it is budgetary.
And
Yeah.
also, I had the same note actually. Mine just came like a few paragraphs further down. And also, I don't think that we mentioned our vacancies.
Oh, that is so true. Well, yes.
Yeah, so that if we're talking about commission capacity, then I think your point is spot on. Because it's the budget constraints, it's the staffing, like we're not fully staffed, we don't have our admin position, and then we haven't had a full commission in over a year.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think has it been a year yet? Yeah, almost a year.
The capacity to successfully, and we don't have full capacity, yeah, with we have vacancies.
Yeah, I would say persistent
On the
commission vacancies. Mm-hmm.
commission.
I think in one of our earlier meetings, there was concern that
And they're long-term vacancies.
yeah, I
long-term vacancies.
I believe one of the concerns was that in kind of listing the various vacancies and talking about the lack of administrative support, that we might, I guess for lack of a better phrase, shoot ourselves in the foot, make it seem as though we're not up to the task that we're doing, and sound a little, I think whiny was the word that someone used.
Well, maybe, a line like, as successful as we have been by accomplishing this, we would be much in a better position if we were fully staffed and blah, blah, blah.
I like that.
Yeah, put it positively, yeah.
The uphill battle is been from the beginning. So I would suggest that we put the commission has again met with an uphill battle to receive support and approval. The support and approval necessary to support its mission. And I don't know if we need to go into budget restraints. We can probably make that another sentence. But I think whoever's reading this has to recognize that this has been an ongoing battle from day one. We had to fight with the city administration since the beginning.
Yeah, and these vacancies are long term. I mean, Brenda's been a year. So I like the way Maria said it, despite us, despite the fact that we strive to complete the work, and we do complete the work, we're impacted adversely by having vacancies and commissioners having to, be on numerous committees. I just want to, I don't want to say it like that, but I want to introduce the idea that I almost feel like they are, I won't say the selection panel, but the mayor's office is deliberately trying to kill us. That's the only way. I'm taking it personally at this point. Because when we only have 5 people and we need in Oakland, and we can only have a meeting to include Angela if we have those 5 people. If one is on vacation, if one is sick, some emergency comes up, we have to cancel a meeting. Thank God we've only had to do that once since October of last year, but still, that underscores the dedication of our 5 that are in town. Because it's very clear to us that if one of us is absent, we don't have a meeting. So how do we capture that? All you brilliant minds, I've been out on the playground in the hot sun. I have little brain magic. How do we?
Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Regina. I'm sorry I'm late. Your point is real, but I think that it is best for us to focus on what we've done in spite of the mayor's, whether it's deliberate or accidental. Clearly, she is overwhelmed. But I think that I would say, we have operated with these vacancies, primarily the mayoral appointees. And while we would prefer that she fill those spots, the commissioners that are in place are dedicated to excellence. So they're working twice as hard. Something like that, because it doesn't serve us to complain. Everybody knows what the challenge is. And if she's not prepared to respond to it, to do her duty as Measure LL suggests, then we just got to keep pushing.
And that's why I've always said I don't want to whine, but I do need to say we have vacancies and it is impacting us.
Mm-hmm.
And we need full throttle support to fill vacancies and to provide budgetary allotment for this thing to succeed. So I don't know how to say.
Well, actually, I think you just said that very well. In order for this commission to succeed, we must have full participation by commissioners. The only way to achieve full participation is to encourage the mayor to fill our vacancies. Now, it may be moot in just a couple months, but we can certainly deliver that now. But I think we do it with, as positive a commentary as possible, because it's not her priority.
Yeah, but you know what? If the priority is to get a good police chief, and if the priority is to get from under the NSA, the priority has to be OPC. Everybody who's in this space has to, walk and chew gum at the same time. So I want to say it. I'm all for it. That's what I said. I threw it out there. I'm going to address these vacancies, but I don't like whining. You're absolutely right.
Katina, I have several options here. I'll leave them all here because they're what people said. So I tried to capture all that and highlight it for you.
Can we respond to Pastor Jackie's very, I think, eloquent suggestion that maybe we do that as a part of the closing the vacancies?
Oh, as a closing on this on this section?
I'm suggesting, good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for my tardiness. I am suggesting that perhaps all of these sentiments that I see highlighted on my screen be somehow combined very succinctly in a closing paragraph that is not placed in this section, but is placed at the end of this particular section. Because I certainly understand all of the sentiments, everything that has been shared, and all of the comments from fellow ad hoc members, but as an outsider looking in, it reads unprepared. And I do not think that's what we are trying to do. I think you are trying to stress that without full cooperation of all of the responsible parties, that the commission is left in a position of not being able to successfully do the work that is expected of them, which is very different than unprepared. And if it's placed as a closing, because you've talked about all the wonderful things that have been done and accomplished in spite of, and then you move to recent months where you move into these challenges. And so I think that needs to remain as you flow through that part, and perhaps leave this as a closing paragraph to this section that just kind of captures, and by the way, here are some other things that we are concerned about as well. Because the focus of the section is not necessarily these things. I think these things need to be raised in other areas. Just as clear, but perhaps not here. So that's what I meant. Thank you, Katrina.
Thank you. So when we go up, because we were talking about some of the things that we are challenged with, despite these setbacks, the commission is strengthening its process to be able to perform its duties as effectively as possible. Okay, so this is why I wanted to add the paragraph here, because we were talking about what are the challenges. This enabling legislation, that was a challenge. I also had something I wanted to say in here that however the effort of to diminish the commission's authority represented less than full throughout its support by city leadership. So this is the reason why, Pastor, I was putting it here, because we were raising some of the, setbacks and challenges. And the challenge really is, having only 5 people when the quorum is 5, and we've had vacancies, and these vacancies do impact. And yeah, we have been very successful due to our dedication to the work, but it is a lot to ask 5 people in Oakland to make sure that they are present every other week. And there's those vacancies.
Chair.
Yeah.
Chair, excuse me. I really am of the mind and in agreement with Pastor Jackie. Let's just report all the wonder. And then at the end say, and we've done it with less than, what we're supposed to be working with. Basically, because I've done it for almost 7 years, and that's my commitment.
Yeah.
But,
so go up a little bit further up so I can see what this previous paragraph is saying.
Yeah, because we're talking initially about OIG
And then you go to
Michelle, and then we're talking about CIPRA and their transition, and now we're talking about the commission, and I think it fits nicely. I kind of agree, like it could be a closing for this one section. I don't think Pastor Jackie was saying should be the closing for the whole document,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm just saying it needs to be a closing for this section. And
Yeah,
I also think if you're going to couch it, and if suggested language is needed, I think perhaps offline we can do that. But I would couch it as, look at all of the wonderful things we have done on a shoestring, whatever, fill in the blank. Imagine what we could do if we were working at full capacity in these areas. is. You can still name what the challenges are, but how they are situated is the difference between someone reading it. Because again, we have said that if this is not included, or even if it is, this is not going to the judge, it's a possibility that this would be shared with the public. And so having all of those considerations to couch it in a way where nobody comes away feeling like the commission is insufficient and lacks capacity to be able to do its job when you have been doing the job. You have not been doing the job in an ideal situation, but you've been doing the job. And so for the persons who don't have all of the context that everyone has on this line, or the history or the background, I think how you frame it will be very important. So you are right, Angela. Thank you for that clarification. I just meant to this section, not for the whole document.
Okay, so
Chair, there's also the option of taking this and including it as additional examples of, I guess we could call it lack of cooperation. There's a small section where we talk about the need for improved communication among the NSA parties. We might take this and expand that section and call it, improved communication and cooperation.
I don't think it's a communication, but cooperation it certainly is.
Yeah, so we could talk about how the mayor has not filled long-term vacancies, has not cooperated with the commission in filling those vacancies. The council hasn't cooperated in providing full administrative support, things, that I'm just putting that out there as another option, since that paragraph that talks about improved communication is pretty short.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, Chair, can we, I am really concerned. I'm like, does the council, have we addressed the council around administrative support, or just the chief administrator? I'm of the mind, like when you're in school and you get a D, if you're shocked, the teacher's at fault. So if we identify things that we have already shared, then yes, let's paint that picture. I'm not sure that cooperation is the right word. And, maybe she doesn't consider us partners. But I would say, a lack of partnership, a lack of communication or access. But I believe that if we have not addressed the city administrator or specifically council around support for administrative stuff, then it starts looking like we're taking swipes at everybody and we've never addressed it. We need to address it in advance of this document because, people take things personally. Maybe they shouldn't, but they do. We want to ensure that we continue to get support with budget and things like that. But we also need to be transparent in terms of the conversations that we should be having with these other entities, and not let this be the first time people are reading it. That's just my.
Of course, Regina, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had, I've certainly written letters to the city administrator, and Mike and I had a lengthy call with the city administrator and Ms. Verding about the whole liaison and making sure that we did have a line of communication into the office, and that person would relay our issues or clarify our issues. I'm not trying to put anybody on blast necessarily individually, because I'm speaking in terms of the commission and what our needs are. So our needs are to have our vacancies filled promptly on the commission and our administrative positions fully funded. Now, how we say that in this section or at the end of this section, which is right after this next paragraph where we say, this court recognizes that not only the OPD and the city, but also the commission are integral to the success of the NSA. Despite great efforts and progress, the commission's OIG and CIPRA along with OPD are currently in a state of flux. The commission expects that once up to speed, each will continue to build on the foundation it has created as the OPD turns into the final stretch of NSA compliance. So if that's the end of this section. So if we don't put this,
And the
Where-
phrase that says once up to speed is the
Mhm.
section
Where-
where all of this stuff can be clarified.
Yeah.
where you?
What does that mean? Once up to speed to the reader. So we know what it means internally, but that would be a perfect place that the commission expects that you said the stuff about CIPRA, you said the stuff, OIG. Once the commission or the commission expects that once up to speed, I'm sorry, it went away. I'd have to pull it up on my phone. And then the section, that up to speed part, you could drop it right there along with filling vacancies, whatever the language is that's comfortable, that really clearly articulates the other concerns. That's your perfect cap,
Okay,
in my opinion. But as
Yeah,
I
and then
said, I will send and work on some sample language. Exactly, what does up to speed mean? So that would provide an opportunity for a clarifying statement, like the things you are discussing now.
okay.
yeah, and it closes with and then we'll continue to build on the foundation. It created as OPD turned into the final stretch of NSA compliance. I think it's good where Pastor Jackie has suggested. I vote to leave it in that place.
Okay, I'm good with that too.
And Miss Cleveland has a comment that says, "What does up to speed mean?" And I think, yeah, that's what we're trying to address right now and clarify. I think the last thing is that paragraph right before, which is in recent months. The commission has been a target of proposed changes, and I think this is the enabling ordinance part. I don't know that it goes here because we talk about how we had them withdraw the proposal to amend the city charter. So I don't know if that's a success rather than a capacity building thing. Like
Well,
that
I
could be
believe that it's a
condensed.
success,
Yeah,
that
it
we
could
didn't
be
lose our
condensed.
strength. Mhm.
Yeah, and it could be condensed and put as a bullet in it's in the same section, but further up, because we kind of highlight all of the significant recent successes. And so if we actually made that paragraph more like just one sentence, we could put it as a bullet there. That would be my suggestion. But I don't feel like it's capacity building.
Well, there, I think it also bolsters the ask or the request for support or the lack of support, because instead of supporting, the city council, and made an attempt to diminish the powers. And
That was my other point.
yeah, so it's tied together, so so that just proves the lack of support. They're going beyond the negative, of trying to diminish, not only not supporting, but diminishing the powers that the commission already has. Thank you.
I can see that too.
Okay, we're still in B, right?
I was scrolling slowly. Did you want to go back up, or I thought you were reading it? I'm sorry.
Okay, have we also captured, though, we were saying the diminishment of the commission's authority represented by their effort to change the charter? Have we resolved this part in yellow? Pastor Jackie, this is where you're saying a lot of this could go after up to speed.
In place of once up to speed, because up to speed is a phrase that to a person reading it, they may not be privy to. So there are the things that you have referenced in terms of the Office of the OIG and CIPRA, but there are other things that you want to enter as well. So that whole section would need to be wordsmithed so that it captures the closing sentiments regarding OIG and CIPRA, as well as capturing the concerns that have been listed here very succinctly. And then closing with the idea that once, as you have said, once these things are up to speed, you know, the commission will be fully empowered, whatever the flowery, truthful language will be, but just capsulate it there so that the reader is not asking, like Ms. Millie asked in the comments, what does up to speed mean? So I think if all of the sentiments that are highlighted in yellow have been captured, then whoever is going to do the wordsmithing or the editing has what they need in order to flesh that out.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're moving on, everyone. We know what needs to happen here. Okay. So now we are at cultural issues within OPD, which is now OPD culture change. Okay, as we scroll paragraph to paragraph, is there any changes? Yeah, are there any changes here in paragraph 1? Okay, hearing none. What about paragraph 2? Okay, hearing none. What about paragraph 3?
Would it just be former interim chief? It says then interim chief Darren Allison. I don't know if it's former or then.
I think
In the
former.
parentheses. Former is more formal. So Micah, the comments I sent had a lot of like grammatical little things in it. I don't know that we need to go through every thing, but if you could like consolidate those or I don't know, or give me access to this version and I can put them in here and track changes or something. I don't know what would work best, but there's like a bunch of small little.
Can you make your track changes at the same time?
I sent it in track changes in a different document though.
And that was last meeting, right? Yeah.
That was a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that went to Katina. She owns the document, but that did go to her. I just have it open so that I can, capture what you guys are saying here, so she can do the wordsmithing.
okay.
Yes,
So
I
do I
didn't-
not
I-
need to go
You want me to
through?
put a note here, Commissioner Jackson Castan?
It should be former instead of then interim. So I'm just wondering, do I need to go through each of those tiny things now, or are you guys gonna actually, are you gonna
Let's
do
do
it
tiny if it's not gonna.
I feel like it's gonna delay because I have a lot. So it's in track changes. I would just like if you could actually move them over to this version, I think that would be helpful.
Since these are 2 different documents, I'm gonna have to look at both of them and put them together. So I didn't want to go through Micah's document and put things in that then might be changed while, during the time that everyone else then makes their changes. So I'm gonna do all the changes at once is basically what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. So I won't do
They're
them.
not substantive in nature though, Angela, are they?
No, I'll speak to the ones that are substantive. This is literally just grammatical.
All right, well then let's keep pushing. And we know that, and maybe you want to make that note on the side, Micah, that we will be making grammatical non-substantive. Okay, let's keep going. We're at that paragraph. Nothing here. Okay, the next paragraph. Viewing the code from the first,
Somebody's connectivity is really bad.
you kind of like, are we frozen?
Chair Peterson,
Chair
your
Peterson.
internet is dragging.
It
So
is.
remember the suggestion, perhaps if you turn your camera off, that would help with the connectivity. I don't know how. I've just heard it said here before, but your statements are going
Okay.
in and out. Let's see if that helps.
All right. Okay, thank you. So here we are, and we're on viewing the OPD's culture, that paragraph.
I didn't have any.
No
comments.
changes there?
Nope, none from me.
None for me. Okay. To promote ethical behavior. That's where we are now.
No, I just think they're going too fast.
Oh, please stop me. Where would you like us to back up to something?
No, that's okay. You're fine. I probably shouldn't have said that. Forgive me.
Well, hello, Deacon Lyles. I thought you were on vacation.
Yeah, but we got to do what we got to do.
I appreciate you.
Now that's demonstration of commitment in the finest sense.
Yes.
If I can, I just want to celebrate the correction from interim chief to former chief. That is so brilliant. And if we want to change the culture OPD and how we see OPD, then we can't think of an interim chief as being something less than. They are the chief at the time. So whatever we expect of a permanent chief, we expect the same thing from an interim chief. They're not a second-class citizen, so to speak. Thank you.
So Chair Peterson, and welcome Reggie. What I would like to see is that we, in that first sentence, to promote ethical behavior within the OPD's culture, the integration of comprehensive training programs. That all is fine, but in terms of training specifically, I'd really like to see a short mention of the training that includes community training curriculum, I should say, developed, presented, and held in the community. So it's not just post, it's actually training from, by, and for the community.
So you mean that you like to see some of the curriculum being presented by community members?
Developed by, yes, developed by, presented by, and held in the community, yes.
Okay.
Would that be community-based? Would that capture it all, or we need to break it down like you said, Jose?
And I like to somehow put the word qualified in there. Just
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
that we won't get the
Yeah.
pushback from someone saying from Post, well, who are these people?
Right.
You know, they have a PhD in violence or sociology or psychology, and they're apt to teach and are qualified to teach.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything extensive, so qualified community curriculum, something along those lines would be fine. It doesn't have to be anything, long, but it's going to be reflective of what's going to be in the upcoming community policing policy.
I'm not sure, Jose, where you wanted that language, but I put a note here.
Yeah, just somewhere where it talks about the integration of comprehensive training
Okay.
or after. A mention of that 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 should include, if we're going to talk about comprehensive, that should include qualified community curriculum.
Is this qualified community developed curriculum?
That would be fine. Yeah.
I was indicating that the presenters are qualified. That's different from a
Right.
qualified curriculum. It's important that that all this kind of information is not just presented by people who wear badges, but by people who live in the community who want what they want in terms of protecting them and their property. And they're qualified to teach. They're qualified people. They're experts in their field.
So how do you describe them without all of those words? But
I just think the presenters are qualified community members who have the expertise in their field.
who develops the curriculum? Who develops
Most of the curriculum is developed by Post, and Post has a screening process, whereas the presenters are always or tend to be former police officers, former police executives, and people who are went on to further their education, but they have a background in law enforcement. But the things that we need from Oakland Police Department would come better suited from people on this panel who are, who understand the community that they're serving and are experts. Does that make sense?
To your point, Deacon Lyles, I believe that we could use the word subject matter experts of their own experience
There you go.
in terms of community people,
Mhm.
because that's precisely what they are.
Right.
yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
And I would also just caution, we could say something that community should always be considered or open to the participation of community, qualified community. Because I can see some times where, we may not, someone may not be available, or we've used one or two, 4 or 5 times. So I just the general that this should always be considered to include community and not have it be so so just what's the word I'm looking for, so finite, so I don't know, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perhaps we could say that community is a critical partner, and they always will be, or something like that. So it affirms whether you have specific subject matter expertise in the subject matter or not. You have, the experience. But we should acknowledge community as a critical partner.
Mm-hmm.
the three things I would like to see, and I certainly wouldn't argue about the subject matter experts and a qualified presenter. But the thing I would like to see is not only that, but also that the curriculum be developed by community subject matter experts. And, icing on the cake would be if in fact those courses were actually presented in the community as opposed to downtown. Those are the three things I'd like to see. And again, I'm not married to that, but I think it's important.
Okay, and what determines subject matter expertise?
Okay, maybe hello, can,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you. Ed.
okay. For example, if somebody wants to teach a class of recruits about the etiquette and how to speak to people in a group setting, in the attitudes you have to present, your body language, your communication style, and all of that. That does not have to be taught by, someone in a uniform. It could be taught by Regina Jackson. And why is that important? Well, you're trying to impress upon these young recruits that these are the people you're working for. Um, the policing is not just an organization that serves itself. It's supposed to serve the community. That's what the oath of office, their oath of office is about. And so, in order to get them to understand that, who's in front of them? And who's in front of them imparting the stuff that they should understand should be community members, not just John Smith who hangs out on the corner, but we're talking about people who are highly respected in this community and have a subject matter expertise.
And to your point, Deacon Lyles, and you know I love you. It could be somebody that has background in communication. I mean,
Sure.
the other thing is because only 9 or 10% of the officers actually live in Oakland, they are not subject matter experts in the community because that's
Well
not their
said.
experience.
Well said, but they are told, or it's implied that the way you talk to this community is how we're telling you, and they could be absolutely wrong, and they wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
They wouldn't know that. Now, if I want to know how to communicate in the Fruitvale area versus, let's say, parts of deep East Oakland, there's nuances that are different, and we ought to know that. There's words that are used. I just learned out what bipping means. I just found out what cap means. I just found out what pause means. If you're going to stay up with this community that you're serving, you have to be fluid you have to learn from the people who live there and use this language and communicate and have have that value to those words. So, and then the biggest thing is, why am I listening to him? Because they matter. This is who you work for. They're your boss. This person from Fruitvale, this person from North Oakland, this person from Skyline Boulevard. They're your bosses. That's culture change.
That's for sure. So my question was, who screens and who says someone is a subject matter expert?
Well,
I think it's totally possible to have, I mean, it's got to be fluid, like Deacon Lyle said. So it could be people who lead organizations, or it could be people who care about Oakland and pay attention, and they're not necessarily neighborhood leaders. Maybe they don't even have time to do so. But I don't think that you have a quote unquote screening. To Deacon's point, maybe there is a list.
I know
Not all
that
commissioners.
that sounds
Mhm.
harsh, but
Let me
I
let
Can
me
didn't
I
say
just
sound,
interject
you know,
here and remind us that in our original document, we covered this. And so perhaps to provide some clarity to the issues that we are discussing now, at some point that document can be revisited because not only was the issue, the statement was not used subject matter expert. I believe we used source expert was the phrase. Not only did we clarify it, but we also listed people under each section as recommended source experts. And the clarification that was provided is that these were people who had demonstrated experience or knowledge in the area that was being referred to in the original document.
okay, all right.
And so a lot of this is there, not to end the conversation, please carry on, but I'm saying the questions that are being raised, we have answered. And we answered it in full detail. I don't know if the desire is to extend this section, but if you did want to go back to that, you literally could copy and paste it.
Yeah,
And it would answer the questions that were raised.
Oh, very good.
thank you,
I just think that if
Becky.
the more we repeat that, the more it takes hold and people employ it. And then in regards to how do we qualify them, we give they give their vitae, you know, who they are and their educational background and their experience, and that's it. Who's to question it? Who's to say they're not?
No problem, but now you're talking more along what I was wondering about. What, and I called it vetting. I don't know, you know, maybe that sounds too harsh, or screening, that sounds too harsh. But we have to have some process for saying, okay, this is a qualified, quote unquote, entity to provide this type of
Or
training
source expert.
or source
A source
expert.
expert.
Okay.
And I think that the challenge is you can have a general vetting process, but who is considered an expert will vary depending on who you're talking to.
That's
So I
right.
think that is the point that Deacon Lyles is making, is that who is considered a source expert by OPD, by its process, may not be considered a source expert in the community.
That's
Deacon
right.
Lyles, I don't want to interpret for you, but that is what I heard when you were speaking.
You did
And
quite
so
well.
perhaps the area that we need to stay in is making sure that these source experts are credible in their area. Because if you get down into saying, okay, these are the viable people that can speak to these issues, they may have absolutely no credibility with the audience they're intended to speak to.
I mean, and I understand that, Pastor, and I understand that, Deacon. I am again asking, is this something? I'm just trying to think logistically. Does it flow through an ad hoc, like the community policing? We want to prepare say a community meeting where this training is done, or if we invite these people to come to our regular meeting of the commission. That's all I'm trying to say. Who says they are a source? What was the word? Source expert or source? Whatever the words were that you used, Pastor. So
Chair Peterson, Nikki has her hand up.
I'm so sorry, Nikki, please.
Oh, I don't have an answer to what you just posed, Chair, but I did want to bring up that in many other spaces, we've had this conversation directly with OPD, like in the Safety and Services Oversight Committee, also in the Reimagine Task Force process. And I think and a lot of community members have come up with these great ideas, such as yours, and great, you know, sources for what to do, including, I'm just going to drop what the language here is. Somebody mentioned like how to get folks more involved in our community, and some folks had recommended, for example, that you have to increase community engagement through mandatory community involvement hours and community sensitivity training. I think I've heard these conversations so often. It's just that OPD will come back and say it's hard for them to prioritize if they don't have additional funding to do these trainings. So I think, to me, that's also a point to raise. Like, we can say and we can name and we can beautifully like point to where and how and who, but the part of the culture that won't change at OPD is this resistance to investing in and prioritizing this these types of trainings and the shift, that it's the community really hopes that it provides. So I think
Yeah.
I just wanted to name that larger picture. To me has been the hard part to reconcile, even if you gave them all the places and people to reach out to, I think it's been hard for them to adapt those changes.
Thank you, Nikki. And I wasn't even thinking of OPD being involved in the, again, screening, quote, or vetting of these community sources. I was thinking this would be run through the commission, maybe through one of our ad hoc, and we have our money that can fund it.
I think that makes sense. I mean, because the commission engages with the chief of police, and the chief of police has the authority to say, we're going to have this training at OPD at this time. Not post, not anyone else. So we can run it through the commission, but ultimately the chief of police has the final word. So if the chief says Reginald Lyles is an expert on blah, 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 that's the end of it. You're assigned to the class and that's it.
Yeah, well, that's our expectation with
Yeah.
full throttle support from the police chief about
Well,
community policing, and this is a relevant component.
yeah. And that's what we do. We go through the chief, and then if not, then we go to the mayor and say, maybe the chief, we need him to understand this if he wants to be the chief here. And so
Okay.
that's how that's done.
And how do we incorporate some of what is being put in the chat by the pastor? They have to be credentialed and qualified. They have to have a reputation and a track record and no conflict of interest.
I don't think that's
And
impossible.
I'm saying, you talked about a process. I am quite not sold that level of detail is necessary for this document. But
No.
if that's an important part of the commission, that you want to be able to
Yes.
vet your sources, these are some areas that you can look at. If the area requires credential and qualifications, then that's an area. Of course, reputation and track record cannot be disputed. And then ensuring that there's just no conflict of interest in them engaging. Not sure, as I said, that it's needed for this document, but since the conversation was happening, that's generally kind of what that looks like.
And the reason, Pastor, and I hate prolonging this, but the reason why I asked that is exactly that. I don't want anything dropped in this document that we can't back up.
Right.
When Brenda Harbin-Forte made a presentation at our, of its NSA work, one of the questions by one of the other commissioners was, well, what have you followed up? What is the process? Where's the money coming from? And
Right.
so, before, I don't want to set us up for something we cannot do.
Right.
And that's why I'm exploring this. So I think we may have covered this. We have to have a process.
Chair Peterson?
Yes, sir.
So one thing we can do is that we can set general broad criteria for what we're talking about here. Right now there's a national and local kind of pushback on DEI, right? The what is it? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so every conservative person is using this, and so here's an opportunity. This is where we don't keep quiet. We also push back. We request that these experts, that the community include intergenerational experts. That means that somebody that's younger than me, okay, that we include gender representation that is not always a male, that we have women also included in being represented by from community. And lastly, that we have racial inclusion, that there are experts in every race in our city. So we can include that criteria, and it doesn't need budgetary approval. It doesn't need, a vote. We are setting those standards, and we are requesting in this document that our source experts should be intergenerational representative, gender representative, and racially inclusive. Thank you.
I like that, Mariano, because I want to see young people. That's always my thing. And they have so many answers, but nobody really wants to listen to them. And one of the ways they can get some of that access, um, when Chief Armstrong was in play, he started with the academies, moving around to different organizations. Mine was one, East Oakland Youth Development Center. And I spoke with them about the community, about the work, but I also presented a young person who could talk about what the organization was and what it meant to them. And so there are ways that can be kind of built into the messaging, particularly from the younger academy, the newer police officers. I don't know if there's space for that, but it's meetings in community that are just a part of their general orientation to their jobs.
Okay. So are we adding something here?
I'm sorry, did anybody hear?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I think I was on mute and I was.
No, we heard you.
No, we heard.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
And to further encourage accountability, the department should institute strength, not strengths based. Right? Is that, yeah. Strength based discipline. I think the next sentence is a fragment. Angela, our
I think I have those in the comments.
Yeah.
This is the possesses the valuable.
creating a system of incentives that rewards positive behavior within the system reinforces the. Oh, okay. No, it's not a.
Oh, that one. No, no, I don't have any
No.
comments for that sentence.
It's not a. It's not. Any.
Oh,
Okay.
what did I say here? I'm trying to remember. Oh, this was the incentives, right?
Strength-based discipline, creating system of incentives that reward.
Oh, no, my comments were not.
And it's not a fragment either.
It was like, it's a shame that we have to have incentives for them to do their jobs correctly.
I used to work on a job where there was incentives not to take your sick leave.
Wow.
You got rewarded if you had a whole bunch of sick leave left over at the end of the year.
Wow.
Yep.
This is like to do the basic, not to go above and beyond.
Yeah, just show up.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep my mouth shut on that one. We can keep going.
I think Jim Shannon's last name just has one N.
Oh, yeah.
Right in the middle, respected figures. Yeah, it's CHANIN.
Yeah. Is a sturdy starting point? Sturdy?
We need another word for that.
Solid?
Yeah, solid would work.
Yeah, you're almost there, Micah. Go up. Yep, go up now. Yeah, now over. There, that word, solid. Okay. Anything else?
I think it's implemented, implanted. Right there. Community design and
Implement. Yeah.
yeah.
specifically focused on impressing upon coming in, recruits.
And why don't we say plaintiff's counsel, Jim Channon? Investigative reporters and authors.
Yeah, I don't know who those other people are.
Yeah,
I know Jim Channon, but that's it.
yeah. Okay. All right. And you have Channon's name spelled, yeah, C-H-A-N-I, yeah, okay. In D, I'd like to put in quotes exactly what the judge said. He said, meet and confer. Meet to discuss and confer. I think that's what the language was. And put that in quotes. Because that seems to be a matter of different interpretations.
Can
with
you
our
direct,
state.
please? Direct
Yeah.
me to where you are.
Oh, I'm so sorry, D. Well, it was D.
A, B.
Improved. It's under whatever the heading that used to be improved communication and cooperation. Right there.
Okay, right here. Mm-hmm.
And so about the 5th or 6th line down,
Mm-hmm.
it says January CMC directive that all stakeholders,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the exact language was meet to discuss and confer.
Okay.
I don't have the court document in front of me, but I think, quote, that's what it said.
Okay.
Quote,
Put
meet,
those implications, yeah.
quote, meet to discuss and confer. Yeah.
Chair Peterson, did it have a must in there anywhere? After
It
stakeholders?
said meet to discuss and confer. That's what I have. I don't have the exact court document in front of me. Anybody have that? Tyler or Katina, can you pull up that document? The court document that directed us?
Yes, give me just a second. The language that I see says, I want the parties in advance of that. And that means the CMC. I want to see the parties in advance of that meet and discuss whether it's appropriate to end the monitorship at that time, to change its form, or to retain the status. Micah, if you
He didn't
if you
use the
give
word
me
confer.
if you give me shared authority, I can show you the page.
Because that would seem to be the contention between OCA and us, that meet and confer means one
Okay,
thing.
let's see. You don't have access to share?
Oh, I'm just trying to make sure that I can. Let me
I think the permissions are okay, so you should, there we are. Okay.
sorry, my copy is highlighted, but this is the page.
Advance of that, meet and discuss. Okay. So it wasn't confer, so why were they all, okay, meet and discuss. I'll say
Can
no.
we use that whole piece of the sentence that Tina just mentioned and replace it with our sentence so it is in quotation?
Yeah, I want it to be in quotation.
Oh, let's see. Here we go. There we are. Katina, since I can't see your screen anymore, can you read that again? It was meet to discuss and
Meet and discuss
meet and discuss. That's it. Okay.
whether it's appropriate to end the monitorship
And discuss whether it is appropriate to end the monitorship
at that time
at that time,
to retain its form
to retain its form
or or to retain the status. Dash, maintain the status quo.
Well, then you have to do parentheses and cite it and then put the period.
It's on page 6 and it's lines 5 to 7. Well, 4 to 7.
page 6, lines 4 to 7.
Thank you.
Correct mentorship to monitorship.
Oh, thank you.
So then we can delete the rest of that leftover sentence. And then we have the commission was disappointed that its efforts to meet and confer about this fundamental issue were rebuffed and ignored. I think that's good closing.
To meet and discuss. Okay, it is 10 minutes to 6. Let's see how much more we can do in 10 minutes. Because I have no changes.
We're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there, guys. We really are. Oh, yeah. We really only got 2 more pages. Oh.
So now we're on the second to last section.
Is that it was E? I don't know what it is.
Oh,
It was originally a lasting sustainability. We changed it to sustaining compliance. And so I have absolutely no changes here.
I just have like the first sentence, you can remove the has been or has inquired. So just delete and just the court inquired. And then
And it's not about what, but isn't it the court inquired whether the OPD is doing, not about what, but whether. Remove those 2 words.
and there's a period after ends, but
No,
before
no, Micah. No. Remove about what and put the word whether. Thank you.
You can delete the period after ends, because then there's a parentheses in another period. Same
Where's
sentence. The end of the same sentence, the first sentence.
Okay, got it. Oh, I see.
There's 2 periods there. Um, I removed the phrase in the next sentence, not simply, it's the second to last sentence in the next paragraph. Sorry, Micah. Right after where your cursor is now. Not simply sit on its hand until the clock runs out. I didn't know that was necessary for the sentence, or maybe it's a formality thing for me. I don't know. I just deleted it.
You thought it was too casual?
Yeah, the department's 1-year sustainability period should include an internal program that requires OPD to remain proactive in fulfilling NSA mandates. I think that's fine, just period. I just don't, well, maybe if someone can, I don't know what else we're trying to say there.
Okay, do you want to comment on this, Mariano?
I think it will stand on its own there if we ended at, NSA mandates, period. Just to explain, but the idea was that, we wanted to get out of that. I wanted the OPD to be aware that it wasn't just a matter of waiting that time out,
Mm-hmm.
and then checking the box, but
Checking box.
so that's fine. I
Give
think
me
there's enough
1 second.
supporting points before and after that to make that point.
Okay.
1 sec, Angela. I remember what you said last time.
Oh,
Save it.
That's
Save it.
important.
Okay, and there we are. Great.
Measures would help create a culture of accountability.
Sorry, everybody.
No. This is important stuff.
Okay. All right. We're back.
So the rest of these items, 1 through 9, are these recommendations? Or
My
things
word.
that are currently in place?
No, they're recommendations.
Okay. So I think first we should make them like all active, since we're making recommendations, because some of them and then do the parallel language thing. But I did have some comments about like how the alignment of the desired outcomes go with some of the recommendations. So can we walk through, do we have enough time to walk through those really quickly, Chair Peterson, and then we'll be done?
Sure, then we'll be done, yes.
Give me 1 sec. My Word application is doing something that is spinning. So 1 sec. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's doing that. Tried to stop the. Come on.
May I bring up a point, Chair Peters?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I hate to bring us because we're almost done, but back at the last page where we're on a paragraph, it says that the court speaks to, I guess, striking at the heart of OPD's ability to change. If we can go back to that paragraph, and I just think the word desire needs to be in there because they can change if they want to. It's a matter of their desire to change.
Katina may need to have the document brought up again on your end and shared, because my computer is doing something weird. I keep trying to pull up the document and it's crashing. So
It's a sentence where the court, the NSA strikes at the heart of OPD's ability to change its culture. And I don't know what that means, the heart of OPD's ability. I understand what they're trying to say, but I don't know if that's exactly what's happening. It's not, it speaks to the heart, yes, it does, but it's their desire to change. The court inquiry strikes at the heart of OPD's ability to maintain compliance beyond moment in time snapshot. But what we've been dealing with for 22 years, and what both judges have come to the conclusion, is that their desire to change. It's not their ability to change. They're able to do it. They're able to change. They got the wherewithal to change, and the smarts and the talent. They want to change. That's what we're dealing with.
That's a good call, Reg.
where was that? Where would you like that, Deacon Miles?
I think it was put in.
We got to go back to the paragraph.
Go back to the
And
paragraph.
I'm sorry,
here.
I should have
Right there.
spoke up earlier,
Oh,
The
but I
first
would have to think
paragraph.
about it. I had to argue with myself.
Here, this paragraph.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
The first one.
Yeah, the first paragraph, second sentence.
Second sentence here. Okay. And what would
Okay.
you like there? Sorry,
The
I'm
court
catching up.
inquiry strikes at the heart of OPD's desire to maintain compliance. We try to get them to want to do it.
Mhm.
And after 22 years, they've convinced me they don't have that desire.
Thank you, Brother Reggie. That makes so much sense there. Thank you.
Mariano, are you convinced?
I am.
I like it.
Thank you.
Because that's what it's all about, that culture, that desire. And if we look at it that way, we in trouble.
You know, James Baldwin's famous quote, "You can't fix what you can't face."
Mm.
I'm gonna work that in on Thursday.
Let me know when you'd like for me to scroll down. I'm back in action.
I think we are like I said, I didn't have any corrections here. The corrections have been made suggestions have been made that are good. I might have added a number 8. Oh, and again, it was about commission being fully supported administratively, and the other was CIPRA fully supported administratively.
I think Commissioner Jackson Castaigne wanted to address aligning the headers with the desired outcome. Is that right?
Yeah.
Commissioner?
Yes. Can we just so I have just language. So number 1, we should probably say like develop an educational campaign. And then our desired outcome is the reduction in fear among officers of being chastised for taking actions necessary to shift culture and move OPD towards NSA compliance. Okay, that's fine. The second one is address oversight resistance through education and oversight. Sorry, through training and education. And then that's the same desired outcome. Are we all in agreement with that?
I think so.
Okay. Is oversight resistance a cultural value
Yeah, it is.
or a
Reflection of,
characteristic?
it's a reflection of.
Mhm.
Or what, Commissioner?
Number two,
Yeah, but you said, is it a culture or a what?
a cultural value or like a
Oh,
characteristic.
characteristic, okay.
Yeah.
So, that's been a question, is oversight resistance, is the fear of moving forward with oversight, is that a culture value? And, I included that in there because, I believe it is because, when you're resisting change, that means that you want to keep the status quo. You want to keep the way things work. You want to keep the untruthfulness. You want to keep the cover-ups. You want to maintain all that. So I believe that it is. So,
Okay. I'm not disagreeing. I was just asking.
sure.
And that
Angela,
explanation
is your
makes perfect
concern
sense.
the phrasing?
It was more the phrasing like I know that it is inherent in the police department, but a culture value to me, it just connotates that it should be.
So if
What
we
we're
were to
saying is the
scroll back
opposite.
at Brother Mariano, because I believe it is, but if it said something to like oversight resistance is inherent in OPD culture, would that clarify it more if we changed how it was phrased? Because I am of the mind that it's not just resistance to the NSA, there's even resistance to the police commission oversight, right? So it is certainly reflective in the DNA and the culture. But maybe if it's that phrase cultural value, I think that first part could be rephrased to say that it is inherent in their culture without using the word value. Because I see why that would be a concern. Thank you. Sister Micah, as you're typing, perhaps inherent within OPD culture? Or if you will spell out Oakland Police Department, however you want to do that, maybe that's more. Brother Mariano, is that okay? Does that still
Yeah.
keep the sentiment that you intended?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
It's a
Thank
little
you.
more affirmative also. I like it.
Sister Regina, happy birthday to your father. She put 9th birthday.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Wow.
She is a daddy's girl.
Can we add one more element to this, Mariano, in number 2? Addressing oversight resistance through training and education. A full stop. My argument is that training and education does not make cultural change or behavioral change with police officers. It has to be training, education, and discipline.
Mm.
If there's no actual
Consequence.
consequence to not trying to learn what we're training you and avoiding the education, actually giving the presenters a hard time, actually being obstinate. Because there's no discipline, you get away with it. And we know that. You know, you don't get promoted from the 7th grade to the 8th grade if you tell the teachers, I refuse to learn what you're teaching me. Okay. You're not going to the next grade. Or you're not getting your diploma in college if you say I'm not taking this class, but it's a requirement.
I had
I
a
refuse to take it. Well, there's got to be consequences. And we need to know, we need to understand that we've been trained by the behavior and the culture of OPD not to expect them to discipline themselves. If you bring that up, then you're ostracized. You don't like the police. When in fact, we love the police and we need the police. But we need them trained, we need them educated, and those who refuse to get it or understand it ought not be there. They ought to be disciplined. They ought to be disciplined. And this is not shocking, anything shockingly new to anybody in law enforcement. They understand that. They just don't want you to know it.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Oh, great,
No, they're great. Good.
great. Okay,
I like the addition.
keep it moving.
Number 3, analyze instead of analyzing. Oh, we have 2 number 3s or 2 number 4s. Review all public complaints, sustained or not, to identify and address any patterns of alleged misconduct, or in alleged misconduct. The desired outcome was continued understanding of concurrent community needs. I felt like that one might be better suited to go under the desired outcome. I don't know, when I thought about this, if we want to analyze public complaints, the desired outcome, yes, it's to understand community needs, but I felt like maybe it's more, it's like, for me, it's around like proactively identifying what those needs are and remediating the issues like that align with the patterns that have been identified. And I feel like the continued understanding of concurrent community needs kind of fits better under number 5, which was to do the annual public assessment of police disciplinary actions. So those were my thoughts.
That makes sense.
Okay. And I thought these recommendations were outstanding, by the way. They're very substantive, very clear. I like the structure of having the desired outcomes that align with the recommendation, because it not only justifies the recommendation, but also gives us a benchmark to aim for, or a North Star to aim for, more accurately. Number 4, just assess instead of assessing. Effectiveness of disciplinary actions. Okay. That was really good. I like that desired outcome a lot. I had a big star by it. Attention to the trends and patterns, how the disciplinary actions actually impact culture and deter misconduct in the accountability model. Very well stated. Establish, okay. And then number 6, unless anyone has any comments on 4 through.
No, I want you to go ahead.
Okay, number 6, we need an active verb there. I don't know what Office of the Inspector General is wholly supported. So, ensure a fully supported Office of the Inspector General, something along those lines. Can wordsmith that later.
Say that, what did you want? What did you say?
Ensure the Office of the Inspector in the
back
beginning,
here, I see.
yeah. Ensure a fully supported Office of the Inspector General, something along those lines. So it starts with an active verb. Places power structures within the city and moves towards civilian oversight. I also had a thought around this sort of institutionalizing, sort of something along the lines of like a checks and balance structure with OIG. And I think that's what the desired outcome does say. Number 7, reduce. Number 8, establish.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Given that the words are being changed to active words, who is it named in that opening paragraph? Who is responsible for this? Because I thought it was introduced as ideas or what needed to happen. It seems like if we are changing it, making it active, that presupposes responsibility. So are we getting into that?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Brother Mariano, I don't know if that was your intent or if there was an idea, because my natural reaction is when we change to active words is who is supposed to establish, who is supposed to reduce, who is supposed to ensure. If these are commission functions, no problem, but there just should be a clarifying statement in that opening or closing paragraph that speaks to that, if we're keeping the active language, and if not, just some other clarity so that there's no confusion there.
Right.
Just a
So,
thought.
no, that's good question. So in the beginning of this section, it stated that for what 21 years there's been no real metrics for sustainability. And so this is making a recommendation that these proactive measures should create a culture of accountability, and this body should insist on these to go into that criteria. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I just think that perfect little summary that you just gave needs to be added at some point in the document. So perhaps in that top paragraph portion, or the copy that I have does not have a closing portion, maybe that would be a good summation. So it would be made clear that these, recommendations are coming from the commission. I still think it's a little unclear as to we're recommending to who's going to have this responsibility for making sure that this metric is met. It seems to me that would be the commission. But either way, just clarify that a bit.
No, I think that, so if for every task that's checked off, supposedly
Mhm.
you've met that task, it's the monitor who actually does that. The team comes in, and either through a Zoom or through one visit, they observe and they decide, okay, boom, done. They are the ones who need to implement these recommendations.
And I think that should be said in the opening paragraph, that these are recommendations for the monitor, because historically there have been no metric, because that's missing. And so when we change it to active language, the natural thought is who. And if the answer is the monitor, I think we're safe to just say that straight out.
Right.
Just
right.
my opinion.
Correct. And then, moving forward, after sustained compliance, then it would be the police commission. Right. But I think we're addressing right now, the sustained compliance period, that period, right? Okay, I will, if you would like, I can work on that.
Yeah, I just think a couple of lines. It
Sure.
doesn't have to be long, but just make it clear that we are making these recommendations in order to assure sustainability, that it just can't come in and be a Zoom in a conversation for the monitor.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I think that's a great point too. And then maybe the closing can begin with, after the sustainability period, it's, the collective responsibility of OPD and the commission maybe SIPR and OIG to ensure that
Okay, so
these recommendations keep going.
we're at the end and we don't have a conclusion. So we need a very strong conclusion. Paragraph, section.
Yeah, we do. Before we do that, I just have just 3 more words.
No
And
problem,
I'm
ma'am.
done.
No problem.
So Mike, if you want to go to number 7, it's, oh, you did reduce. Okay. And then establish a sustainability period with robust metrics and gathering. And then I think there's a space between the hyphen and police in the last part of that. Yeah, that needs to be deleted. And then restructure. Okay, you did it all. Great.
And are we
Okay.
referring to the monitor or the compliance officer when we talk about what one was there? Because he wears 2 hats. Restructuring monitor fee during the sustainability. We might have changed the heading. And then we go into this whole part about allow the monitor to actively participate in the sustainability effort. It is the monitor we're referring to and not the compliance officer. Whenever we talk about this, he wears 2 hats.
Because it's the same person?
1 person, 2 hats.
Yeah.
So what are you recommending? What are you suggesting?
No, I'm not recommending anything. We were talking about having the monitor participate in the sustainability. Is that what we just saying we were going to do? And maybe I've lost my train of thought, but I just want to make sure we understand there's a monitor and then there's a compliance officer.
Right, I think 9 in requesting, a restructure of the fee, it allows the monitor to actively buy in to the desire to, to sustain compliance, to achieve getting out of the NSA and not just be a passive,
Observer.
yeah, that was what that's about.
Okay. So are we also saying here though that in monitor fee during the sustainability, we're talking about lowering the fee or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Should we be more specific?
I do think so.
Okay. Restructure to a lower.
Yeah. At the end of that sentence, to actively participate in a sustainability effort at a lower rate.
Yeah.
At a
Okay.
lower fee rate.
There you go.
Okay, and then all we need to do is develop that last conclusion. I'm going to ask of this of Mariano, Angela, and the pastor to work on that conclusion, to draw everything together.
Pastor Jackie's gone.
That's okay, we'll notify.
This
Well,
is
then
for-
Deacon Lyles, we'll have Deacon Lyles.
He's gone too.
For the entire, for the whole document,
For the whole kit and
Oh.
caboodle.
a
Oh,
closing
good Lord.
our document. Sorry.
Yeah. What is the conclusion? How do we want to leave this?
Right.
Tina, I thought you had a draft, or no, not yet.
No, she said she wasn't doing anything until we finished all of our edits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't writing a conclusion that didn't actually include everything in the document.
Well, that's got to be not only powerful, but it has to wrap everything up because essentially that's going to be putting out our position.
It's
Right.
a wop, it's a wop, wop, wop.
Right. Oh my goodness.
We have to do this by Thursday?
No, next week when we meet again.
Oh, I thought it was for our meeting on Thursday.
No, Chair was talking about the enabling ordinances for Thursday.
Yeah, I have comments for that too. Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay, Angela, Mariano, and either Pastor or Deacon Lyles or both of them.
I can't do this week. I have selection panel tomorrow again.
Oh,
Oh, they're gonna call you, let you
For the
reappoint.
10th time.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I can offline you on that one.
Okay, thank you. Please do. How do you want to do this, Mariano? Well, I guess we can talk about it offline.
yeah, but first I'd like to just get some sort of consensus. You know, there is no one on
Thoughts?
this ad hoc that believes that we're ready to get out of the NSA, correct?
No.
Okay, I
And
just
I
want
had
to
a-
make, I just
yeah.
want to make sure about that, you know, because
Mm-mm.
this,
And I had a conversation with Jim Channon this morning, and they are not taking the position as plaintiffs' counsels that we should get from under this. And theirs is more couched in the latest brouhaha with discipline of certain officers and
right,
what have you.
right. Okay, I'll give it a stab, and I can speak with Commissioner Jackson Castaigne, you know, offline. But you know, I think that, you know, I'm going to be perfectly transparent. You know, this has to include, as one of the reasons, is the whole Tran investigations, and you know, how can anyone think that we're ready to get out when this has, you know, brewed, you know, has come up, you know? So okay.
And I would encourage
Uh,
everyone.
Mr. Contreras, I think when you come to the meeting on Thursday, you'll understand how we're hoping to include the investigation.
Okay.
And we'll have an opportunity before the commission votes on the final draft to hopefully include information about that. Hopefully we'll have additional
Okay.
information.
Correct. So what I was about to say is please pull up the agenda for Thursday. Study carefully item 9. It is long explanation, but if you follow all the thread, you'll see this is the way the commission can get involved in that investigation within our jurisdiction. Look at item 9.
And so there's packets embedded in there, or okay, I'll look at it. Okay.
Yeah, look at it.
Okay. Is that okay, Commissioner Jackson Castaigne, that, you know, maybe I'll be attending Thursday's meeting, so maybe we can talk a little bit.
I got an email too asking all the 4 of you, really, it's, and our ad hoc is comprised of Commissioner Jackson Castaigne, Commissioner Jackson, and myself. I don't think all 3 of us need to be engaged in this conclusion writing. And I think that those that I have named are going to be great writers of this first draft. And remember, we're going to have just one more meeting before we need to vote on this.
Right. So let me just, so it's Commissioner Jackson Castaigne, myself, and Lyles, or Pastor Jackie, or both.
I'll reach out to both, and they can decide if the 2 of them or just
Okay.
one of them.
Okay.
And I'll send that out in an email.
Mariano, I will email you from my personal email because my I'm kind of locked out of the commission one right now. My phone number.
Okay.
And I'm free like all day Friday too, if you want to just touch base offline first.
Okay. I have a retreat on Friday. I have to.
Oh, never mind then.
But
I figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. Let's communicate. Okay.
Okay.
Oh. Man, I'm sweating just thinking about this.
You
But
shouldn't
you
have,
have a
you
lot of
should not,
passion, and
yeah.
your passion comes through in the language you use, and then I am a good wordsmither.
See, and you wrote that
Yes.
whole sustainability last, 2 pages. See, you put yourself out there.
Yes, you will do fabulously.
Yeah.
He was like, thank God it's not me anymore.
But
Oh,
Katina, thank you so much for providing the draft from which we could do this work. Thank you, Micah, for tracking these crazy changes
yeah.
You're
and,
welcome.
keeping us on track, keeping the trains running on time. Thank you so very much. And here we are, the last of the bunch of this NSA. It is 6:28.
Oh, crap.
I want to thank you all for hanging in there over time. And that's it. Anybody else have anything else to say?
Time for beer.
Huh?
No, Micah, if you forward me this document, I will get the changes input as well as Commissioner Jackson Castaing's changes. So
Okay,
we'll
I'll
have
forward it.
them, we'll
I'll
have them
forward
for
it
the
right
next meeting.
I'll forward it right after the call.
Oh,
Fantastic.
All right.
Okay, everybody. Have a really great evening.
All right, good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.